Hello, everyone. This is Rob Golfi with REMAX, the Golfi team. Welcome to the Golfi Real Estate Show with host Stephanie Vivier.
So glad to be here with you, Rob. Always a pleasure. We learn so much. We have lots of laughs. It's always great to talk real estate with you. Really excited to find out what's happening in real estate this week. You've got some stats for us. Things are kind of crazy.
They are. We had CMHC come in and speak to our team, and it's crazy what we're seeing out there in regards to like the market, the housing, and everything. And it's funny. So a lot of people waited. Like last year, the market was definitely a lot better than it was this year. And when I'm looking at the numbers, like what they're saying with CMHC is that they like with the 10-year historical averages, and I've got it right here. I'm just going to flip over to this page here, and it shows that it says elevated inventories leading to price declines in benchmark homes. Now, benchmark home prices 10-year year over year. So right here in Niagara, the 10-year average in sales were 2,802. And this is January to April. Now, in 2024, okay, the 10-year, it was 2,883. And now in 2025, 1,796. Huge drop in sales. Yeah. So a lot of people are sitting around and that's in the Niagara region. Now, Hamilton, Burlington, the 10-year average, this is crazy. I'm not sure what these numbers are right. No, sorry. They made a mistake here where it said Hamilton, Burlington, but here it is right here. Hamilton, Burlington, 10-year average, 1,100. So that's from January to April, 1,100 sales. Okay, 2024 January to April was 854. Now in 2000 January to April in 2025, 565. So excuse me, sales are way down, and people are getting scared about that, and it's crazy what the market's doing. Like a lot of agents are worried, especially if they're the only income in their families. They got to work twice as hard, and things are just changing. The inventory is insane when it's that's happening out there. Like it's just keeps going up and up, the inventory. Now people that have to sell, they're selling if they price it right. But a lot of inventory sitting, and people are trying to get more money for their house, and they're just not getting it. And it's showing here in like the benchmark in regards to affordability for people buying homes. Like it says, estimated income qualifications threshold for resale benchmark homes with a minimum down payment. So now, based this year so far in Niagara, if you're buying a condo, you need to make $90,000 a year to afford a condo, or a household income of $90,000. Now, if you want to buy a townhouse, and you're a townhouse in Niagara, where is it here? 120,000. So you need a household income of 120,000. That is hard to achieve for some families in Niagara.
Well, it is, and Rob, there was a big study out this week about, women and when they have babies, and the high percentage of them who lose their jobs when they're on maternity leave, or even, during the pregnancy and that sort of thing. So, if you think about a young couple who wants to have a family, even if they are at that threshold, there's that fear that, if they step out to actually have to go there and create a family, that they might lose that income. So yeah, that's a big barrier.
Oh, they do. And you know what? During that time, they are collecting some kind of income, probably for maternity leave through unemployment, but it's nowhere near what they're making. and that's when that's when they're building debt. That's that year when they have the child, they're building debt, and once they get back to work, that's when, you know, now they have that debt. Now they're able to sustain and stop the bleeding, and they continue on. Now, for a single detached home in Niagara, a household income is going to be $130,000, and these are CMHC numbers that they came out with, and it's and they feel that the way, you know, things are going with Trump, and that he's pushing the market to go into a recession. Now, we've been through many recessions. There was one short one in 2017, another one in 2009, and I think we're going through one now. They say we're going to go into one, but we're probably going through one now. So it is like the market is different. I'm finding that, and it's insane. Like I wish the world can see, or Canadians can see, the CMHC numbers just to get an idea of what's going on. And they're talking about tariffs, where it's going to cause a lot of problems. Hamilton is one area, just because of the steel industry. Windsor, auto industry. Lethbridge, Alberta, it's the cattle industry. In Calgary, it's the oil industry. New St. John's, New Brunswick, it's also the oil industry, and other things in Quebec. I'm not sure what they have the bolt there anyway, but there's some kind of mining maybe industry there in Quebec. So it is going to affect different areas more so than others. I know ArcelorMittal indicated that I think they're laying off and changing plants where they're going to manufacture steel, just because of you know, different things that are happening. That it just brought this sooner than later, that they were planning on doing that anyway, just because of technology and the equipment that they have in Quebec versus here in Hamilton. So things.
Yeah, that's the steel wire part of their business there. So I think there's about 160 folks who could be affected by that. We don't know if they're going to be offered work in Quebec, so they're just moving that part. But there will still be an ArcelorMittal in Hamilton. But you're right, Rob. Like, that's just the kind of stuff that this area doesn't need.
Yeah, exactly. And it's tough. It's tough out there. I mean, we're seeing it. Our inventory is climbing, and people are anxious. They want to get their house sold. Some of them can't afford it anymore, and they're already stretched as it is, and they're carrying the house. And if they get an offer today, the closing date's not going to be for another 60 to 90 days. So they are, you know, it's pushing, and you keep dropping the price, and the market's changing. Like, the market has changed this year. We've seen that happen, and some people are, you know, are scared out there. And now in saying that, like, you know, if you're a seller, what's the best, you know, what they're saying, what's your best move in a tricky real estate market? I'll tell you, if you're a seller right now, the key thing is, you know, you need an agent that's going to, you know, strong on social media. You got to put it on the multiple listing service, and also other marketing aspects that the company has. You can't just you better have an agent that's got a good marketing plan, and it's well established in the business, that can get your house sold. If you're going to use a mediocre person that is a part-time agent, you are going to lose a lot of money, and you'll find that out after 6 months, and you realize that you should have gone with somebody that's more strong in the marketplace. But it is definitely changing, and every week it's changing more and more. It solidifies what CMHC said to us on a presentation this week. You know, it's crazy.
Let's talk about that. You know, the idea that you have CMHC come in and talk to your group. I think that's like really starts to highlight the difference with the Golfi team, that you're bringing in these experts to talk to your realtors, and that's how they really gain the expertise. Like, you know, when a Golfi realtor comes into someone's home, the things that they're offering, you're suggesting prices, all of that kind of stuff. It's based on what's happening today because you stay in the know.
Oh, absolutely. And we bring in these experts to not only, like, for my own education, but for our team, so that when they sit down with you at the table, when you're putting your house on the market, we can tell you exactly what's happening in the marketplace. There's no, you know, Like, I don't know what's going on. We know, and we have weekly meetings. Like, our team knows what's happening in the market on a weekly basis. And our markets do change every week. Like, we have some, when markets are, kind of sensitive, but they're still moving. One week it could be quiet. The next week it's just ravage, and it changes. It's funny, and you don't know what causes it in the place. You don't know if it's the news or the weather or whatever. But markets change week by week and month by month. So you need to know what's going on. And I just had one last week, and I was talking to one of my agents, and she said, "Rob, what are we going to do about this listing?" I says, "They're priced right. Just tell them to hold on. And guess what? Within 5 days, they got an offer." See what I'm saying? Like, that's that's what I know. Like, and they were willing to reduce. I says, they don't have to do that yet. Just tell them to hold on. Just hold on, because I know what's happening on a daily basis in the marketplace. I check the numbers. I check the showings, the appointments that are happening. And those are the key things. Those are important to know, because you don't want to reduce your price of your house, which you didn't have to, and then you end up getting less. I mean, most cases you do, but some cases you don't. And because of our inventory level, we know the market pretty good. CMHC, even when they were sitting there, they wanted to sit down and talk to me, because they know I have a large inventory. We sell a lot of houses, and they know we know the market pretty good, better than most realtors out there. And sometimes they want feedback from me to relay to them, so that they know what the talk on the street is, what the feelings are. They get the stats. That's not a problem. But they don't get what people are saying and doing and feeling. And that's what they don't have. And that's what we have with the Golfi team.
Okay. Something we haven't talked about before specifically is, I guess, the 3 Ps, the ideas of the 3 Ps. So this is price, product, and promotion. Can you explain that to us?
Yeah. So the 3 Ps. So one is staging, and the other one is, basically multiple listing service, social media. Those are key factors. Like you need, like we have a staging consultant on staff all the time. And right now, and the crazy thing is, some people are getting out of the business. Stagers are getting out of the business, and so is realtors, and they have some staging furniture. Yeah, we've been buying it. We just bought one that we emptied out the whole condo, and we bought all the furniture because it was all staged, beds, everything. And we bought all the furniture from another company, and just bought it all out. We can get our stagers going there anytime. I got two full-time cube trucks out there, and basically I have 2 full-time movers out there that we can go in and empty out a house, no problem. If they need furniture gone, we'll go bring it out. We've got about 35, 40 houses currently staged right now, and it's a lot of some of them aren't moving, and it's tough because you got to keep buying furniture to stage other homes that come into the marketplace. But we're very cautious now. We can't just put houses on the market that it's wishful thinking. So we're wishful thinking in what they can get for their house, and sometimes it is that way. Like, I mean, you don't know. I know newer houses are a little better than the resales, but if you're not within $10,000 of the value of the property, you're just going to get showings. You got to price it right, and that'll get you the price that you want. Now, it may not be the price that you're thinking of, but it's the price of what the consumer knows, and the consumer knows better than the realtor. They know better than the seller. They know better than everybody, because they're looking at every house, every corner, and every aspect of everything. They know. If the house has got air conditioning, finished basements, if it's got double car, single car garage, or no garage. They know that. They know age of shingles, windows. Are they wood windows or they're vinyl? Most of them are vinyl. And they know, the flooring. They know the kitchen. They know that. And even though your kitchen's in great shape, but if it's dated, it's dated. It could be the best shape in the world. Like the kitchen, you could have a kitchen that's immaculate, but if it's dated, it's dated. Can't do nothing about that. That's going to hurt the listing a little bit versus somebody that has an updated kitchen.
Yeah, so many things to consider, and the market really is a new one, and the Golfi team can help you navigate it. Our guest today on the Golfi Real Estate Show is Rob Golfi. Stick around. He'll be back, and we've got some, I guess, good and bad news for renters. Good news for renters, maybe bad news for landlords. Rob will tell us more coming up next here on News Talk 610 CKTV.
I know the importance of hiring the best agents.
I'll take a photo of your house and post it on the World Wide Web.
Next,
our multi-million-dollar marketing system reaches tens of thousands of potential home buyers every day.
Go to robgolfi.com and put the best team to work for you.
Welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show. I'm Steph Vivier. Rob Golfi is with us today. If you missed the first little bit, stick around. I mean, Rob just really took us through what's happening today in the real estate market, and that is really different from last month, a couple of months ago. Every day is a little bit different. The Golfi team stays on top of that. And Rob, we've talked a lot about rent. In the last few years, even rent has been difficult for those who are looking for somewhere to find. They haven't been able to find places. Things have been very expensive. But now, for the 8th straight month, rents have fallen. What's going on here?
Yeah, people are they're hanging on. They're not making that decision. I know we talked a little bit about this the last week or a couple weeks, but there was an article in the paper that came out in the I think it was the Globe and Mail, and they're saying average rents have fallen. Rents have in Canada fell 3.3% year over year in May to 2,129,000, making the 8th straight month annually decline. So month-to-month stability. Rents remained mostly steady for April, up just 0.1%. So purpose-built apartments. Now, just to give you a definition of purpose-built, that means that building was built specifically to rent. So one owner owns the whole building, whether it's a corporation or a person, and they rent out the whole building. Now, they're down 2% in rent. Now, condo rentals. Now, that's people that they bought a condo and they're renting it out, and that could be several investors that bought condos, people that have a condo in a condo building. Now, that's down 3.6% in rent. And then houses and townhouses are down 7%. The key drivers, surge in new apartment complexes. That's why, in 2018, they allowed that if you built or own a house built after November of 2018, and they gave incentives for investors to build a purpose-built apartments. And they gave them a lot of incentives to build. So now there's a surge of them. So now they're struggling in renting them. And see what happens. And because they didn't build any for many years because they brought the rent control in the 70s. And then developers and builders say, hey, we're not building any more of these apartment buildings anymore because you guys got rent control. There's no money to be made anymore. And that's it. So now, 30, 40 years, 50 years later, they're saying, hey, we need this. We have a shortage. So now they're building an abundance of them. Now they're charging a lot of rent for them. Now anything built after November of 2018, there is no rent control. So anybody that owns the building, they can raise the rent as much as they want. They can ask whatever they want, and there is no rent control. Now, if they get it, great. If they don't get it, well, they're going to have to drop their price. So now these guys that built all these apartment buildings, they're struggling right now. They're not fully rented, and a lot of them are just finishing right now. And I can tell they're struggling. I know some people that own these buildings, and they're going to have to drop their rents if they want people in there. And they're brand new buildings. They're brand new. So but people are afraid to move into these buildings also because they can raise the rent anytime they want. Without, with no rent control. Normally it's about 2.1 or 2.5% right now, but they can raise your rent to 5% if they want. So there's a cautiousness happening there. People aren't moving. If people are in a 2-bedroom, they got 2 kids, and they're paying $1,500 or $1,800 a month, they're afraid to go to the apartment or townhouse or condo that's $2,500 a month. They're staying where they are, especially people that are paying got good rent on their place that they're staying. Nobody's upsizing, they're staying put, and even if it's a little tight, but they're waiting, and they're not gonna move if they don't have to. They're living like the immigrants lived when they came in the 50s and 60s and 70s.
Yeah. You have people who are also raising families in their parents' basement. I know a few families that are doing that. So you're right. It does sort of harken to a time that used to be, which is kind of nice for the family closeness. But for anybody who does want to move, does this mean there's some negotiation opportunity, Rob? If you hear of one of these purpose-built buildings that you're talking about, and say they've got something listed for, I don't know, $2,800, can you go in as a renter and try to negotiate that?
I would try to negotiate whatever you can. You know what? And sign a lease, a long lease. Sign 2 years or 3 years so that you're locked in for that much money. Now, if you left the lease, like if let's say you needed to move out, I mean, the landlord will probably be happy because he probably can get a little bit more money for the lease, or he can hold you to it. So it just depends, but at least you can lock in at a certain rate. If you're a landlord and you're going to keep the property and somebody wants to sign 3-year lease, perfect. But then you can't sell that especially if it's a single family home, unless you sell it to somebody else that wants to keep that renter. But after 1 year, usually they increase your rent 2.5% on that. And but yeah, it just it is. People are holding on. People are not moving unless they need to, and that's why it's hard. I have a 3-bedroom side-by-side duplex, and it's listed for $2,250 with an unfinished basement, washer, dryers included, all the appliances, and it's got a small backyard in the side yard, and I couldn't believe it. We're struggling to rent that. That's in Grimsby. It's surprising. I mean, it's not like a brand new townhouse, but if you get a brand new townhouse, a basic townhouse, you're looking at probably $2,500 to $2,800 a month. But surprising that nobody that is in the $1,800 range that's renting maybe a smaller unit jumping into this, which you got, a full basement, you got, it's a 2-story. So you're getting people being very cautious. And it's not just me with that one. It's everywhere. It's all like, we have a property management company, and we have, and we're always leasing out other properties and stuff like that. And we're finding that it's been a struggle. Like, and our main property manager, he can't believe how it's going and the way the market's going. People are just sitting and waiting. It's getting difficult to rent out some of these units because people are not looking to move. They're staying put.
Okay, so what do you think then? Is this rent drop temporary, or do you think we're in for a longer trend of this?
I think it's temporary, but I think we're going to go through a little bit of rough waters coming up a little bit, and it's going to be like that for probably 6 months, and then things will pick back up. But it's hard to gauge. Like, a lot of people wait and say, "Hey, I'm going to wait till the market gets better," but it could get worse. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know, and it's a roll of the dice. So you just got to find your best deal and negotiate your best deal if you're looking at moving to upsize to an apartment or downsize to an apartment, and just find your best deal and go with it. A lot of people are moving from a townhouse into a condo apartment, which is tough because, the townhouse, had a small little backyard. They can barbecue. Now they're moving into a condo apartment, which you can't really, most newer ones, you can't barbecue on the balconies, but you can do it up on the rooftop. Usually they have an open area for people to kind of, sit out in the sun if they want. But it is becoming difficult for a lot of people. So people are staying put. They know, because townhouses and single-family homes are becoming fewer and fewer because a lot of people have converted their homes into 2-family homes now. You got the basement rented and then the main floor. Well, I mean, you get the backyard, but that you still, is it your backyard or is it also the person in the basement be able to use it? So you don't really have the privacy. So things are changing in this market, which is becoming tough for a family to rent a house because they're not getting the whole house. They're all getting apartments in the basement, and that's what the province wants, Canada wants, is high density. So they're allowing everybody to duplex their houses. So now you got traffic, tough parking for a lot of people on the street and the driveways. It's becoming tough everywhere. Like you can't, like you gotta drive 2 blocks over to get a parking spot, and that's everybody's doing it. So the cars on your street are probably people on the next block over, and your car is the next block over. So it's just a big mishmash of that's happening out there, and we're just getting crowded, and even you could tell even the Queen Elizabeth way you're driving, the traffic is just the population's is heavy and growing, and everything needs to be accommodated. We need more lanes on the highways. We need more houses. We need more of everything.
I wonder how the Airbnb sort of short-term rentals fits into all of this, Rob, because that has been, something that people are pointing fingers at, right? We didn't have a lot of rental inventory because folks were going to Airbnbs, that type of thing. And we've seen, the different towns and cities here in Niagara come up with their different stances on how they would handle, putting regulations on that. Have you seen it have either an increase or decrease in people who are using their properties for short-term rentals right now?
Yeah. So a lot of people, like especially in Hamilton, if you weren't in a certain area, you could not Airbnb your house. So a lot of those ended up becoming long-term rentals, which was good. Same thing in Niagara. There's a lot of people that had Airbnbs in just regular neighborhoods. Those, if the bylaw guys found out, you would get a warning or you'd get a fine if you kept doing it. So that opened up that door, but not enough. It didn't open it up enough. And it just depends on the rules and regulations in every municipality and city that's happening out there. But it did open up a bit more long-term rentals for the areas, different areas.
Yeah, and I think that was, sort of a good thing, I guess, if you're not someone who's looking for an Airbnb. And then I know you deal a lot with investors too, right? You people that come to you that do this either for a living or as part of their retirement portfolio, buy some properties and have them rented out. How's that market going? Do you still have those investors? Like, maybe is this a good time because you've been talking about that increased inventory? Like, what advice would you give if somebody was either sort of in the investment game or looking to get in?
So the investors right now, they've basically kind of are holding back, and same thing with the first time buyers. So that hit the market hard. So you got two buying people that just kind of saying, let's just wait and see what's going to happen. And especially in the condo market, it hurt the condo market took the biggest beating in this market. And so you're not going to see investors come in for a while, or even first-time buyers, if they're coming in, they're you're going to have to negotiate. If you get a buyer, I just talked to a realtor. He said he had a condo. He had it for lease and for rent. It was ready to expire, and he gets an offer, and it was a cash offer, 2-week closing, and it wasn't the price that he wanted. He says, I took it and ran because he knew that and he was struggling to rent it. So either, and he just took it and ran. He was strong enough and reasonable enough to know that to sell it instead of hang on to it for another, 3 to 6 months with it empty. So he had to be very careful that way.
Okay, so yeah, some changes in that market as well. Aren't there deals to be had though? Like, would you advise jumping in or no?
There's a lot of deals to be had. For sure. If you're looking, you can find some really good deals out there. And you just got to find the right one. And you may have to look at a lot of houses and find out, the agent will call you and say, hey, listen, my clients are pretty motivated. And then you can probably hammer out a pretty good deal. Now, if you're looking at buying something and you're planning on, staying there a minimum of 5 years, you will do well with it. You are going to do extremely well with it. But if you're looking for something just for a year, I advise not to do that. I advise, because you don't know how the market's going to be within the year. And especially we're walking on eggshells right now I'd say for the rest of this year. But 5 years, go in, make your deal, buy it. You'll be good. You're gonna be happy that you bought at this time. And I remember when in 2015 and 16 and 17 it boomed. I'm thinking, wow, these houses really went up. People bought at an alarming high price in 2017, especially the beginning. And then look at it now. Those prices are like cheap compared to what it is today. Those same houses, but at that time we thought they were expensive, but if you look back, hey, it was a good deal.
Oh, how times change. Rob Golfi is with us here on the Golfi Real Estate Show, covering all things real estate. He's going to stick around. And on the other side, it's the perfect house, except for one small detail. Stick around here on News Talk 610 CKTV.
Are you worried about selling your home on time and for the most money? Hi, I'm Rob Golfi. Every year we invest millions of dollars in our advanced marketing system, ensuring your home is seen by tens of thousands of potential buyers. We don't just hope it sells, we make it sell.
And welcome back to the Golfi Real Estate Show here on News Talk 610 CKTV. And our guest today, the one and only Rob Golfi. And Rob, there's, always that thing. You're looking for a house and it's like, oh, this is good, except we wanted a bigger backyard, or, we really wanted, more room so the kids could all have their own individual bedrooms, whatever it is. But there is one house in Toronto where some buyers had to face a really, really tough decision. It was really perfect, except for what had happened at the house with the previous owner. I'll let you tell the story.
Oh yeah. So they, a lot of times when people buy houses, they, you don't know if there's been a death in the house or not. And so stigmatized properties, homes tied to traumatic events like murders and criminal activity. In Toronto, many such homes exist due to city's age and density. For sure. I lived in a couple of century homes, and guaranteed people have passed away in those homes. And so buyers are sometimes torn. A beautiful house at a discounted price versus an unsettling past. In one case, a couple bought a home despite it being the scene of a murder. The killer had been convicted, which offered some reassurance. Another property at Silvercrest Avenue is for sale despite a double homicide. The alleged killer is still at large. So anyway, but Ontario does not require disclosure of deaths in homes unless it is a material fact that may affect the transaction. However, material is a vague legal term leading to inconsistent practices. Some homes eventually sell at a deep discounts. One sold for $1 over asking, even after a violent crime. Some buyers hire spiritual energy clearers like Jane McKenzie, who claimed to cleanse homes of dark energy. Lack of disclosure can backfire. Like basketball star Shea Gillius and Alexander reversed a home sale after learning it was once owned by a disgraced crypto investor, Aiden Plestgeski, whatever he pronounced his name. Courts may side with buyers or sellers depending on interpretation of disclosure obligations. Agents are not legally required to share home dark past, but they must not misrepresent facts if they know of them. So it's hard to know if somebody's been murdered 60, 50 years ago, right? Chances are there's been two or three owners. But if a homeowner, if somebody asks and says, has there been any deaths in the property? Well, first you Google and see if you can find any, and then you ask the sellers and see if you can find any information from there. Now, if they don't have anything, then, there's nothing we can do about that. But if somebody asks, I bought a house that somebody committed suicide in the garage. I bought it, renovated, flipped it, and I told the people that bought it, say, hey, listen, there was a suicide in this garage, just to give you the heads up on it. And they had no problem with it. It was all good, because the house was completely gutted and redone, and they were fine with it. Now, will those people, when they resell down the road, will they mention it? I don't know. But a murder, definitely. There's the billionaires that were murdered in their pool house, inside their pool room in
Barry and Honey Sherman.
That's right. They tore that house down. They and that's an upscale neighborhood. They ripped the house down. They're probably going to sell the lot. Somebody's going to build a new house there. and then go on. And because nobody, like, it's going to be hard to sell a house with a double murder in the pool room. So, but it definitely, if somebody asks, yeah, you got to research it. Some people, but if you know about a murder and you don't disclose, it could backfire on you, and a buyer can actually probably come after you and sue you for, not disclosing that information.
The tricky part here, Rob. Okay, so you bought a house where someone had died, but you weren't going to live in it. So what if you were going to live in it? Would you still have had the same feeling?
Wow, I know that's a good question. You know what? That is a good question. So would I buy the house that had the suicide in the garage and move into it?
Mm-hmm. Or a murder?
Or a murder? I think I'd have to think twice. Now, think about it. You have a partner too, right? It's not just you moving in. So
that's right. You have a partner. Maybe the kids are still at home.
Yeah, like maybe, yeah, I think it'd be tough. I know somebody that owns a house right now, and I think it's a 3 or 4 bedroom house, 1 bedroom. There is some spiritual thing going on. So their kid could not sleep in this room, could not sleep. And the people prior, I don't know if they disclosed it, but there is something going on in this 1 bedroom. So they took their child and now it sleeps in a different bedroom, and it's fine. It's fine. But when somebody visits, they let them sleep in there. They don't have a good night's sleep. Something is going. It is. There is some spiritual thing in this house. And it's pretty scary. Like, now, is that something you disclose? I don't know. That could be just the people that can't sleep that well in that room or whatever. But this house does have some kind of issues in that 1 bedroom. So is it like something's moving around? Like, what happens? Or just people feel eerie? Like, what's going on? There's some eerie thing going on in that room, and it's disturbing anybody that is staying in that room. So they just use that room as a storage room now. They just walk in, walk out, grab whatever they need. They do not live in that 1 bedroom. They have other bedrooms, and they just do not use it. And it took them a while to figure that out. And they realized, they brought somebody in to see how it is, and they did say there's some kind of aura or some kind of energy there that's not, it's not good.
It's interesting. Is it an older house?
It is an older house. I think the house was built probably in the 30s or 40s or something like that. And but yeah, it's and who knows, something must have happened in that house at one time. Now, from whatever happened, there's who knows how many owners in the last 50 years that owned it. I'm sure they've all had the same issue, and the next people that buy this house, they'll probably have the same issue also. They'll probably want to move in. Their kid's gonna be all wake up in the morning with their hair standing up straight, and they're gonna go through all these. It's almost like Amityville Horror, like, you know what I mean, like all that. Yeah. And apparently that was a true story, Amityville Horror, like that. You know what I mean? There was some issues going on in that house. So
there's definitely like an actual house that is based on. I ask if it was an older house, because it's interesting. Don't you find that whenever there's these ghost stories, it's never a house that was built in like 2005, it's always a way old house. Like, are we not making new ghosts anymore?
No. At different times, the ghosts today, they're not interested. They don't want to get out and scare people anymore. It's the old ones. It's the old ones, the boomers, exactly. But yeah, it is crazy. And there has been, well, look what happened with what's that case then in St. Catharines with the Homolkas. What was that guy's name that went to jail? I'm going blank.
Oh, Paul Bernardo.
Paul Bernardo. They tore that house down, and I don't even think they built a house on that corner. I don't know if they did or not. But and I asked the insurance company. I think there is some type of insurance that caused that if you have to tear down or whatever, but you could be out of luck, So if you have a tenant that murders somebody, he could deflate your house, and we have that on the Parkway. that we sold, and there was a double murder on the Niagara Parkway, and that guy probably lost, I'd say, $250,000 to $350,000 of value on his house. And I don't know if you remember the Airbnb that there was story came out about 3-4 years ago. There was
I think that was in Fort Erie, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And we sold that house, and I'm telling you, it was the biggest struggle that we had. And the guy that bought it's probably going to gut it. It's going to, move in. It's not going to be the same looking house. And so the next person that'll move in, it'll see that it's been changed quite a bit. And hopefully, as long as somebody's moved in afterwards, that, they kind of, everything's good. I think
it's like a buffer.
Yeah, it's like a it's like a buffer. It's like a buffer. Yeah, they kind of cleanse the place. They cleansed it and everything. But that was a big struggle. Like, first of all, you're trying to get a good price for him, and it's impossible because now you have to disclose there was a double murder there, and it was a tough sale. I've sold a few houses. There was murders, and there's one that was on the Hamilton Mountain one time, and that was a gruesome, ugly one. Like, we're talking garbage bags. Like, that's how bad. That's how bad it was. I don't want to get any further, but but you have to disclose it, and if you don't, you're gonna be in real estate court for a long time, and they have every right to know that information. But when you're buying a house, always Google the address. Google it and go to pages and see what goes on. You're going to see all the real estate, times when it was listed and sold, all that. But just keep digging and digging, and that address something will come up about that address. I mean, anything in the last 25, 30 years, if anything's happened, it'll be on the internet.
All right. Well, we got, we talk about the housing market, Rob. We can't, we talked about, how sales are different. And there's also, a real change, real shift in starting to think about how we build our houses, because certainly, the actual building themselves has gotten very expensive. And Mattamy Homes, which is a big builder, they're looking at prefab housing and actually doing a prefab housing factory. How's this all going to work?
Yeah, so he's built. It's cost him quite a few millions of dollars. And he's got the money. He's a billionaire. Mattamy Homes, Peter Gillian. He is built a factory, and he had to get all the equipment from Europe to bring over to do this. And he's going to open up in 2026. Prefab, and he's actually saying he can do prefab. What do you call it? Six-story condominiums. Now, you can build up to 6 stories a wood framed condominium, which I'm not a big fan of. I prefer a concrete. If I was going to buy a condo, I'd prefer concrete walls and everything. You see them going up. You see them pouring the concrete. But they can actually save half the time in building, prefab it and assembling it together. If it's a 6-story condo building or even houses. I mean, and some houses are prefabbed before they go up, and you'll see that all of a sudden you're driving, you see that all of a sudden they made the foundation, and then a day later you see the whole, all the walls up and then the roof's up. That's how fast housing is going to be built in the future. And he's probably one of the first that can afford to build a plant like this to prefab homes, bring it to the site and load them up. So this guy can build a subdivision real quick down the road, and it's going to make his costs cheaper. Now, is there going to be a savings? There will be a savings, but the big cost is in the development charges from what that they charge, the city charges and the permit charges and all those kind of charges that they charge. If they get rid of those, then I think housing can be affordable, better affordable than it is now.
Are we going to be able to tell the difference? Is it going to look like, when you think of prefab, you're thinking something very specific, not necessarily that beautiful dream home, or is he planning to make them sort of look like, I don't know, I'm going to say, quote unquote, we want them to look, if that makes any sense?
You won't be able to tell the difference. You won't be able to tell the difference if it's a prefabbed house or a regular house built. It'll be the same way. They just put it together in the plant, and then they bring it, and then they just assemble it on site.
Wow. And then, I can think about the trades, right? We have a hard time getting enough people to work in the trades. So something like this, if the people that are working on it just come to one location, it makes things a lot easier.
Oh, it is. And then you can build all winter long too. You don't have to worry about, heavy storms, snow, all that kind of stuff, the hot sun. You've got room temperature in the plant and it just goes out. Boom, you assemble it, and you're good. I'll tell you, like it's the way of the future. And it's funny though, in Europe, like I was just talking to a guy that does like Berzati kitchens. He does they go to Europe and buy equipment which costs hundreds of thousands of dollars to help them, manufacture kitchens at a faster and still at a good quality rate. And so that makes them more competitive in the marketplace when they are quoting people's kitchens. So he was telling me that they're always looking at new technology to build kitchens.
Well, I'm sure we're going to be talking a lot more about this as it continues to develop. And that's what we do here on the Golfi Real Estate Show, give you the latest and updated information about real estate. Rob, thank you so much. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Elsa.
And that is Rob Golfi from the #1 real estate team in Canada, the Golfi team. Give them a call, 905-641-0308, online at robgolfi.com. That's GOLFI.com. Start packing. Thanks so much for being here. This is News Talk 610 CKTV.